Hello guys and welcome back. Hearth and Home is just around the corner and today we're going to be breaking down everything we know about Hearth and Home. First off, for those who didn't know, Hearth and Home has been confirmed for the 16th of September, which was announced at the end of the cinematic trailer at Gamescom this year. But what is Hearth and Home? Hearth and Home is the first major update to Valheim since its release earlier this year and brings new buildables to home building, with a lot of it focusing on new foods. We'll also be going through all of the sneak peeks we've been given, as well as what might be on the way. Now we know this update also brings new combat mechanics too, so expect us to touch on that as well. So starting off, what are the new buildables that we've seen being used? Well, with food being one of the major changes, you'll notice that we will now have access to an oven, which will be used to bake bread and pies as well. Now accompanying the oven is also the pots and pans, the spice rack and butcher's table. Now these will work similarly to upgrades to the crafting table or forge. Using these new buildables close to the cauldron will unlock higher tiers of foods that will become available to us. And there are a lot of new foods to play around with, including ice cream, chocolate smoothies, and new raw meats for each of the animals, such as raw deer, boar, and wolf, as well as lox meat. Now this makes the meats feel more unique, and with it they bring their own new recipes, whether that's cooked meat or the boar and wolf jerky that we can see here. Now there are also new vegetables that come in the form of onions, which you can use for onion soup, and a new type of berry in the game called bukeberries. Now this of course allows you to bring up all that new food that you've just cooked and eaten so that you can eat something different. Now this is actually super important because it allows us to change playstyles quickly, so I'm really glad that they've thought about this. Now I also wouldn't be surprised if we have some new foliage in game, as we are aware of the new darkwood material which we will be looking at shortly, and also obviously the bukeberries I presume will come from their own bush. Now each food has a different focus, whether that's giving you higher HP, higher stamina, or a mix of the two, and this can be actually located in the food icon you can see judging by the color of the fork. Red forks focus on health, yellow forks focus on stamina, and the gray forks are a balance between the two. This actually allows us to adjust our playstyles. So if you want to build, you'll want a balance between some health to save you falling to your death, but also high stamina so that you can continue to build quickly. If you're fighting, you can have high stamina to allow you to deal a lot of damage quickly, or high health, which will allow you to tank more damage, as well as block more without being knocked back. So having bukeberries will actually allow us to bring up our food so that we can quickly swap between stamina or health as and when we need it. So for example, if you're building your base and then suddenly are attacked by a wave of enemies, perhaps you'll actually want to fill up on health, in which case you're going to use a bukeberry really quickly and then grab some food to build up your health. That being said, you can also wait for food to run out, which will be much easier to tell now because there's the new minute timers that are over the food icons once you consume them. Now when it does come to combat, there has also been a slight change to the mechanics, in conjunction with the new foods of course. So we will now have the ability to block more damage based on our max health. This also comes with tweaks to the tower shield, which is receiving a buff allowing you to knock back enemies easier, but this won't allow you to parry enemies' attacks like you can do with the buckler or the round shield. Now the buckler is obviously best for parrying, whereas the round shield is just all round a good shield to use, and generally what I go around with. Having higher health will also allow you to take more hits to your shield without being knocked back. As you can see here, there is a knockback beat meter on the right hand side, and I presume when this fills up, after multiple hits, you will be knocked back. This is a huge buff for people who like to play as tanks though. This does mean, however, that those who choose to go with high stamina builds will be knocked back easier and probably die quicker. So it will be best for them to stay at arm's distance from the enemy. Now I feel this is a great improvement for groups playing together, but it does make playing alone a little more of a dangerous prospect. Now what I'm most excited for though is not the food or the combat changes, but the rest of the buildables coming to the game. Now these have been hinted at throughout images and also some gameplay videos like this one, which we'll get to shortly. Now first off, let's break down the images that we saw right at the beginning. The very first image, if you remember rightly, was a raven on a roof with a new roofing tile being hinted at in the corner. These we'll be talking about later on, but it's similar to the dragon head. We can use these, should we wish, as decorational items for our builds. Next we have this image which hinted at something new. Now I believe the hint was the gold pile. As we can see, it's a person sat on a throne. And in our next image was this hole in the ground. Now I guessed that it could be running water that's coming to the game, or possibly a new digging system, but there have been multiple suggestions that this could relate to the glimmers in the rock, which could possibly be a new resource or gems. Now following this, on the 28th of May, we received two more teaser images. The first I want to look at is the dark woods, which we're calling it here. Now we can see here that there is a new slimmer type of wood available for decoration, as well as a new decorational wood also to the left of this image. Now we then had this image which has stumped us all, with people saying, including myself, it could be a saddle or breeches. But in June we were given another bunch of images, and the first image, which I think everyone has actually missed, shows off the exact same image from the picture before over these little logs. And looking at it, it looks like this is actually a bench. That being said, maybe it's not a bench. Maybe it's a new, I don't know, extension to the crafting table as and the tanning rack is somewhere to soak, I guess, dry out the hides. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Like I said, not 100% sure on this. I think it is just a bench, but who knows? Let me know what you think it could be in the comment section below. Now, if we take a step back at this picture, you can also look at the whole of the image, and you'll notice that we also have those new wooden roofs, which we saw in the very first image. And we also have shutters for windows, which can be opened or closed, and a butcher's table, which you can see through the window. We then get a much more detailed view of the inside of this house, with the new pots and pans, the spice rack, and the butcher's table. This is when we were also given a look at the onions, as well as the various new recipes, citing more than 10 new recipes have been added. And like I mentioned earlier, these new buildables that are in the house are similar to what you would use with the crafting stations. It's built in proximity to allow us to develop the higher level food items. Now, if this wasn't enough, we then were treated to images showing off the new iron grates, which are alongside the iron gate which we already have. There are also stacks of gold here and a treasure box. This will make a nice little treasury, but I really do hope that they're going to be adding more uses for gold. It just feels like it doesn't have much worth currently in game, rather than the limited amount of stuff on sale at the dwarf's shop. And finally, we were given the most recent information following the announcement trailer. Now here we have a video which I've taken from Instagram. It's not currently on YouTube, and I presume this will be uploaded on YouTube soon, so do check it out then and see if you can see anything else that I've missed. First off, we have a new border piece which has added detail to it, as well as a finer wood crossing over the central window. We can then see these detailed wooden beams being used across the hearth, and you can see just how much adding these little beams add to the detail of the build. If we look at 21 seconds into the video, we can also see that that arch in the very first window is actually two separate individual sections which have been pushed together. Entering the house once again at 25 seconds, we have some detailed railings or window pieces along the sides and on the second level, which really do stand out before the piles of gold are added into the corner. And that wasn't everything, because we were then also treated to 2 more images showing off the new stone oven and the wolf head. A new decorational piece like the dragon we currently have and the raven that we were talking about earlier in the first Hearth and Home teaser. And in this photo we also get a better view of the roofing tiles as well as the new decorational window, wall, rail piece that we just saw. Now I have to say, I am super excited for this update and can't wait to do some of the builds with this. We also know that this isn't everything, so do expect to see more decorational items, but time will tell. Let me know what you are most encouraged to see in the comments below, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks with the release of Hearth and Home on the 16th. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is that they have also been hiring new people. They now have, I think they mentioned 8 members of staff in total currently working on the game, possibly 9. I remember seeing 6 people earlier and they've added 3 more. So hopefully the future updates will come faster than this one that's taken a little bit longer than we would have hoped. Anyway, guys, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to our amazing supporters, most notably our Solar Eclipse patrons, the Calamity and Cerebral Tag, as well as our Lunar Eclipse patron, Dixie Chris and James Irwin, as well as our Blood Moon of the Day, which today is Shlom. Anyway, guys, until next time, as always, ciao for now.